Yeah, I don't know. They got me. They got me with the nostalgia stuff here. I finally broke my stance on non-associated stuff, and it feels kind of gross. Alright, so recently I was a guest on the Stacking Slabs podcast, and as we were closing things out, Brett asked me to share one piece of advice for collectors today. That was kind of spur of the moment, so after we logged off, I got to thinking about it some more. There are a lot of things I've learned throughout my time in the hobby. It's tough to condense 3 decades of collecting into a single thought, but I kept circling back to a few core ideas, things I've come to believe pretty strongly over time. So now that I've had a little more time to organize my thoughts, I want to share 5 pieces of advice that have stuck with me, shaped how I collect, and might even help guide you wherever you're at in your journey as well. So let's go ahead and jump right in. My first piece of advice is actually the same one I gave Brett when he asked me on the spot, and that is don't let other people dictate what you collect. That sounds simple, but this is something I've seen collectors struggle with for years, and it's only gotten worse as we've moved further into the social media era. Everywhere you look, people are telling you what's hot, what's cool, what you should be chasing. There are influencers showing off 5-figure cards, market trends pushing you toward the latest breakout player, and constant talk about what's undervalued, what's overhyped, what's dead, and so on. It's easy to get swept up in all that, especially when everyone else seems to be following the same wave. But here's the thing, none of that matters if you're not enjoying your collection. If you're only picking things up because someone else says they're worth having, you're missing the point. In all my years doing this, the collections I've admired the most are the ones that reflect the person building them. Whether that's someone chasing every obscure parallel of their favorite player or building team sets from a specific era, that's what makes the hobby fun. That's what makes it personal. So yeah, it's fine to be aware of trends. It's okay to get inspired by what other people collect, but make sure you're staying true to your interest along the way. Collect what you like, because at the end of the day, you're the one living with your collection, not some random stranger on the other side of the screen. Now, if you stick around long enough, some of those strangers might actually turn into friends. Over time, you'll start to find people who get it, collectors who share your passion, your values, maybe even your specific niche. And that brings me to the next piece of advice. Find people you trust and stay connected. When you've got people who understand what you're after, who can spot a deal with you in mind, or just help you work through a situation, everything gets easier. They help you avoid mistakes, vent after a deal goes wrong, and sometimes even talk you out of a dumb purchase. You know, I feel like I have a pretty good idea these days what I like and what I don't, but sometimes it's nice to get that second opinion from someone that knows both you and your collection well. In a hobby that can feel overwhelming or fragmented at times, having trusted people around makes all the difference. They help keep things fun, give you fresh perspective, and make sure you don't lose sight of why you started collecting in the first place. So yeah, collect what you like, but don't do it in a vacuum. Find your people and stay connected, because it makes the whole thing that much better. And once you've got that foundation in place, a clear sense of what you like, and a few trusted people in your corner, the next step is learning how to slow down and enjoy the ride. And it's easy to fall into a rhythm where you're always chasing something, the next mail day, the next auction, the next grail. And don't get me wrong, chasing goals is a huge part of the fun, but if you only let yourself feel satisfied when you acquire something, you're probably burning yourself out without even realizing it. This is a long game. Building a great collection takes time. Completing a set, hunting a rare parallel, tracking down a specific card in the right condition and at the right price, none of that happens overnight. And honestly, that's how it should be. Some of the best moments in this hobby come between the big pickups. Flipping through a binder, revisiting a stack of cards you haven't looked at in a while, reorganizing a box and being reminded why you picked certain things up in the first place. That kind of stuff keeps you grounded. It helps you see just how far your collection has come, and it reinforces why you're doing all of this in the first place. So yeah, chase the grails, build the sets, scroll the listings, but don't let the hobby turn into a race. Slow down every now and then, appreciate what you built, and let yourself actually enjoy it. And that leads right into the next point, which might be one of the most important things I've learned. Don't overextend yourself. Simply put, if collecting starts to stress you out or negatively impact other parts of your life, it's time to step back. Hobbies are supposed to be fun. They should be a break from stress, not a new source of it. If card buying or trading is creating tension with your family, straining your finances, or taking a toll on your mental health, you've got to take that seriously. No card is worth that kind of pressure. So set boundaries that make sense for you. Maybe that means creating a monthly budget. Maybe it means narrowing your focus and only picking up cards that really fit your collection, not just whatever's hot right now. Whatever it looks like, the key is to protect both your well-being and your enjoyment of the hobby. Because if it stops being fun, well, what's the point? And that's why it's so important to keep things in perspective, not just in the moment, but over the long haul. And that brings me to the last piece of advice. Don't fixate on the past. Use that experience to guide you forward. One of the biggest traps we all fall into is looking back and beating ourselves up for things we should have done differently, whether it's cards we regret selling or ones we wish we'd picked up before the price exploded. Trust me, I've been there. But the reality is, no one times everything perfectly. And honestly, that's part of the fun. Learning as you go, making choices, and living with the results. For as many cards as I look back and wish I would have bought, I probably have quite a few in my collection that I'm glad I actually did purchase as well. So know it works both ways, and everything kind of balances out. And even if you don't feel that way, just know that experience has value. It's like paying your dues in the hobby. So instead of dwelling on the past, try to take those lessons and apply them moving forward. Think of your experience like a compass. It won't tell you exactly where to go, but it'll help keep you on track. And the further you go, the more you'll realize the wins and the missteps both shape the collector you're becoming. Alright, so there you have it. Those are my 5 pieces of advice for collectors based on my 30 years in the hobby. I hope you found something useful in there, and I alluded to the communal aspect of the hobby in one of those points, so obviously I'd love to hear from you, especially if you have tips or lessons of your own. Feel free to drop those in the comments. Otherwise, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.